For decades, we've operated under this illusion of a rules-based global order. But when the US launched its war on Iran, it didn't just bypass the UN, it bypassed its own Congress. It obliterated Kharg Island, the hub for 90% of Iran's oil. The US president essentially declared that he doesn't need international law, constrained only by his own morality. The message to the world: the rulebook is dead. It is the law of the jungle now. Might makes right. Washington thought it was projecting strength, but what it actually did was write a brand new blueprint for its biggest rivals. The US just set a massive precedent. If you have the military power to secure your interests, no one is going to stop you. And the axis of upheaval, Russia, China, and North Korea, are watching, and they are taking notes. Let's look at Moscow. With the US distracted, critical Patriot air defense systems meant for Europe are being diverted to the Middle East, starving Ukraine of the exact weapons it needs. And because the Strait of Hormuz is paralyzed, global oil prices have spiked, handing Russia a massive windfall of $510 million a day. That is enough daily profit to buy 17,000 attack drones. Putin doesn't need peace talks anymore. He is currently advancing to take the rest of the Donbas.
Main agreements, substantive agreements, have not yet been reached. I'll repeat once again. For us, there's no alternative but to base such agreements on the Alaska Understanding, on the understandings that were negotiated based on the American proposals and which the Russian side, with a certain degree of compromise, has accepted.
And Europe is paralyzed. They are getting dragged into the economic black hole of a Middle East war they didn't want. The US administration has effectively hollowed out NATO's Article 5 guarantee, openly threatening to let Russia do whatever the hell they want to European allies that don't pay up. The Western alliance is fracturing in real time.
And again, remember this about seven. Just remember, it's something that we don't need, and these countries don't need. And yet for years, it's like, for years we've been maintaining and doing a great job. And now that the war now that they've been diminished in terms of military, their military has been greatly diminished. I think it's a good thing for other countries to come in. Now, it would have been nice, as I said to the Prime Minister of the UK, who sort of was reluctant to put his 2 aircraft carriers into harm's way. That would be 2 weeks ago. And as soon as we demolished, essentially, pretty much demolished them, not over yet, but pretty much we're in great shape. That way everybody knows. He said, we'd like to send our aircraft carriers. I said, I don't want them after we win the war. I want it before we start. So whether we get support or not, but I can say this, and I said it to them, we will remember.
But look right here at China. Beijing is watching the US bomb Kharg Island to protect its interests, and they are applying an if you can, I can logic. If the US can circumvent international law to secure the Persian Gulf, China can use that exact same justification to launch a naval blockade on Taiwan. And Chinese military experts know a drone and missile blockade is highly feasible.
It is reported that Taiwan is considering selling debt for the first time to finance overseas investments as an effort to resist the diplomatic isolation imposed by China. Comment. The DPP authorities are accustomed to engaging in separatist activities internationally under various pretexts such as trade and investment, expanding the so-called international space. With malicious intentions, it is destined to fail. The despicable tactics of the DPP authorities cannot change the historical and legal fact that Taiwan is a part of Chinese territory, nor can they shake the stable pattern of international recognition of one China, nor can they stop the historical process of complete reunification of the motherland.
And China has the ultimate leverage. The US military is rapidly burning through its finite stockpile of smart munitions and interceptors in the Middle East. Meanwhile, China is hoarding semiconductor manufacturing equipment and pumping out advanced 7-nanometer chips. If Beijing makes a move on Taiwan and the US tries to stop them, China can simply cut off the tech supply chain, ensuring the US literally cannot physically rebuild its own weapons. Then there is the ultimate wildcard, North Korea. The US has quietly pulled critical THAAD and Patriot missile interceptors out of South Korea to send them to the Middle East. This leaves Seoul and Tokyo totally exposed. Kim Jong-un immediately exploited this, firing a 10-missile saturation barrage and testing a Mach-18 hypersonic glide vehicle designed specifically to bypass whatever defenses are left. This isn't just 3 isolated countries acting out. This is a highly integrated coalition. North Korea isn't just launching missiles, they have deployed 11,000 troops to fight for Russia in Ukraine. They are building new bridges to ship 33,000 containers of weaponry straight to the European front lines. They are actively sharing the burden to crush the West. It is a strategy of asymmetric attrition. Death by 1,000 cuts. The oil shock from the Middle East threatens to disrupt the massive energy grid required to run semiconductor foundries in Asia, which produce 80% of the world's high-end memory chips. The Axis doesn't need to fight the US directly. They just need to choke out its energy and its technology all at once. By trying to project raw military dominance in the Middle East, the US walked straight into a strategic trap. They kicked off an era of unconstrained, multi-front chaos. The war meant to secure American interests has instead fractured its alliances, drained its military, and handed the keys to the global order straight to Russia, China, and North Korea.